The Happy Farmer right-hand B section has some suspension notes. Those are the notes that get held in one part of your hand, while the other part of your hand will be playing some other notes. In this case, the suspension notes are the melody, and the other notes that will be playing along with that are the harmony. So when we start with the pickup note to measure 9 and 1, that B flat right there is a suspension note that needs to be held for 1.5 beats. We land on beat 1, and then on the and of 1, we play this interval right here. And then we also play it again on beat 2. Now this note is melody, and this interval is harmony. So we want to strike a really good balance in our dynamics, where this is piano and 1, and this is even softer, and 2. Then we're going to use that slide down the key movement to make a legato connection to the A, and 3. Now on this note, I suggest you switch to finger 5 once you land on it. This way you can slide in and grab these intervals here, which are also harmony, and 4. Now I just threw a lot at you, so let me just back up and try that again. Here we go with the pickup to measure 9, and 1, and 2, and 3. Switch fingers, slide in, and 4. And that's your first phrase. That's probably the most complicated phrase of the entire piece right there. So maybe pause or back up and practice doing that a few more times before going on. The next part can sometimes be confusing for students because there's a phrase mark, which typically means legato, over the notes that are marked staccato. Well, this is just showing you that this all is a phrase right here. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So you're still going to play those notes staccato. They're just part of that phrase. At the end of that phrase, when you land on this G, that's a dotted quarter note who gets 1.5 beats. And just like the suspension note in measure 9, you're going to have harmony notes play right after it. I'm going to play it again here with counting. Here's the pickup to measure 10. Ready? Play. And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Notice those are going to be softer because they're harmony notes. Now the next middle C, it's the last middle C of measure 10. You switch fingers, and that's really important because this middle C is a melody note. You just played these two middle C's as harmony right there. Switch fingers and drop onto that middle C with finger 2 with a little bit of extra oomph. It is marked forte, and that's melody note now. So here we go to the pickup to measure 11, and I'm going to take this from 11 through measure 12. And 1, and 2. Now just jump, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Now in the Suzuki book, this note is marked with a finger switch to finger 4, and that's necessary to do if you have a smaller hand, and it could just be more comfortable, but if you have a larger hand, it's not necessary. It's up to you. So let me play this next section again. It's from the pickup to measure 11 through measure 12, and then notice that the melody notes are the ones with the stems up, and then the 8th notes at the beginning of measure 12. And the intervals are all harmony, and we want to strike again a good balance between forte in the melody and then much softer in the harmony intervals. Here we go, pick up to measure 11. Ready, play. And 1, and 2, jump, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, rest. And in that version, I just did the finger switch so you could see how that works. Measure 13 uses familiar chords from the A section, but notice at the end of measure 13, there are 3 inverted F chords, not just 2, which we're used to. This measure compares to measure 3, but here at measure 13, those 3 8th note chords at the end of the measure are really important to make sure you play all of those. Sometimes if students forget to play those 3 and they only play 2, they find themselves going back to the A section because it felt like measure 3. So here's measure 13. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Very important to get that last one in. Measure 14 then has different intervals than the cadence in measure 4. This one goes 1 and 2, slide in, and 3 and 4. Now that whole section that I played there in the B section is repeated exactly the same way, same dynamics, to finish off the B section. Here's the whole entire B section then. This is the pickup to measure 9 all the way to the end. Ready, play. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 off. Well, that's it for the B section in the right hand. For this video, it's really helpful to just work on one small section at a time and hit pause or zip back to the beginning of that section, watch it a couple of times and then practice it, working on each section with repetitions and then sticking all the different sections together as you go. Happy practicing!